Namaskar, welcome back friends. In this lesson we are going to explore the 12 zodiac signs. We're going to learn why there is 12, not 11, not 13. What is the science behind it? We're going to explore how the planets give their qualities to the zodiac signs and what is their relationship. We're also going to explore the elements and the guna, the deeper quality of the zodiac. This is step number 3 in understanding how to read a horoscope. If you learn the qualities of the zodiac signs, the nature of the planets, and in our next lessons, if you understand the framework of the 12 houses, you will have all the ingredients in your pockets to understand a birth chart and to understand how karma is manifesting in your life. The Sanskrit term for the 12 zodiac signs is rāśi. Rāśi means a heap or a pile. And the zodiac signs are not just a heap and pile of stars, but speaking metaphysically, they're the indicator of a heap or pile of karma. The sun and the moon are like the mother and father of the zodiac. And the rāśis are not just a division of space, but are also division of time. Let's clarify why there's 12 zodiac signs, not 11, not 13. For this, we have to understand a little astronomy. In our galaxy, the sun is in the center, and the Earth rotates around the sun, taking approximately 365 days. In many cultures in the world, a circle has 360 degrees. This correlates to the 365 days being rounded down that the Earth takes around the sun. Why would most ancient cultures practice mathematics? Well, one great benefit from practicing math is the ability to calculate the position of the stars and to calculate time. The moon takes approximately 27.5 days to rotate around the Earth. This is what we call sidereal months. However, after those 27.5 days, the Earth will have moved at least 28 degrees around the sun, and therefore, even though the moon has now completed a full circle, he will not be in the same position in relation to the Earth. To complete his cycle in relation to the Earth, from full moon to full moon, the moon will take 2 additional days, making it 29.5. This is what we call a synodic month. Now, a synodic month can happen about 12 times in a year, rounding 29.5 to 30, considering the time the day takes around the Earth takes around the sun, 360. We have 12 months in a year, 12 revolutions of the moon around the Earth, within the Earth taking one cycle around the sun. Now these 12 revolutions of the moon, we can map them out in space and we can start creating the zodiac. And this is why we have one sign equaling a 30-degree portion of the sky. There are different systems in Vedic astrology, there are different systems in astrological systems all around the world, but the first system that we want to learn to familiarize ourselves with the matter, to be able to read the horoscope, is to understand that one 30-degree portion of the sky equals one zodiac sign. Now, the ancient rāśis, the ancient sages, they were very intelligent, and by keeping track of time, keeping track of the years, keeping track of the months, they noticed that, whenever the moon is in this position, these things happen on Earth. Whenever the moon is in this sign, then these things happen on Earth. To make it easier to remember, the rāśis associated these stories and these qualities with different symbols that they inferred, that they saw in that portion of the sky. So it is not that because there are some stellar constellations that look like a lion, and therefore when planets or the moon or the sun are in Leo, therefore we have all these lion qualities. No, it is not like that. It is because there are these qualities, therefore the sages said, oh, it might be easier to remember a lion in this section. We can remember the zodiac signs by the symbol that they are associated with. We can remember them by the qualities that are present in them. And we have to remember them by the planets that are associated to them, by the planets that endue them with their qualities. There are many ways we can depict the zodiac. The universe around us, it appears three-dimensional. When we like to compute it, when we like to analyze the horoscope, we have to make it accessible for us. For that, we transfer the three-dimensional space into a two-dimensional format. One easy way of doing this is drawing a circle and dividing that circle into 12 equal portions, one for every sign of the zodiac. A more common way in India, particularly in South India, is the South Indian horoscope, which maps the same image into a square with four smaller squares on each side. Looking at this South Indian chart, the second square from the top would be Aries. The next one to the right, Taurus. The next one, Gemini. And in this order, in a clockwise direction, we can depict the entire zodiac to Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. There is an ancient story in how the zodiac got divided and how the planets took ownership or rulership or lordship of its various sections. Since the sun is the king and has the most power and agency, the sun was the first planet to choose its position in the zodiac. And of all the signs, the sun could relate the most to Leo, because Leo is like the lion. The lion is the king of the jungle, so the sun is the king of the planets. As we learn later in this video, Leo is a fiery sign. It is a fixed sign. It has all the qualities that align with the nature of the sun, and therefore the sun chose Leo as his unique post. And we will see that all those people who are Leo ascendants or who have their sun in Leo or their moon will have many qualities of the sun. Wherever is the king, the queen is not far. And therefore the moon chooses the sign which is just next to Leo, that is Cancer. Cancer is a watery sign. It is a movable sign that aligns very strongly with the qualities of the moon. So we have the sun in Leo, the moon in Cancer, and next the other planets will choose their spot. Mercury, he's the prince, he has to be in the palace, and therefore Mercury chooses those two signs which are surrounding Cancer and Leo, namely Gemini and Virgo. It is interesting that the sun and the moon only lord one sign. The sun is the original principle of masculinity. The moon is the principle of femininity. While all other planets divided their energies, such as Mercury, who put all his masculine energy into Gemini and all his feminine energy into Virgo. Next comes Venus. Venus is the counselor of the royal family. Of course, the counselor has to be in the royal court, and therefore Venus quickly chose her positions. Venus has the rulership over Taurus, which just comes before Gemini, and Libra, which is just after Virgo. Next is Mars, the general who's protecting the royal court. He took rulership of Aries, which is just before Taurus, and Scorpio, which is just after Libra. Jupiter, he is also a counselor, so he could have come along with Venus, but he's guru, he's heavy, he takes his time to think and reflect, and he does not need to be in the immediate chambers of the royal court. Jupiter knows that royalty, sometimes they can get a little bit corrupted, and as a priest and counselor, he likes to have some distance. Therefore, he took rulership of the signs just before Mars, namely Pisces, which just comes before Aries, and Sagittarius, which is just after Scorpio. Then we only have two signs left, namely Capricorn and Aquarius, and Saturn, who is the slowest among all the planets, who has a very old age, who is limping with one foot. He took rulership over the last remaining signs, namely Capricorn and Aquarius. It is amazing to notice that all odd signs carry the masculine energy of a planet, while all the even signs carry the feminine energy of a planet. Therefore, among all the planets, for Mercury, Gemini has the masculine energy, Virgo has the feminine energy. Masculine means they are external achievements, on goals, on results. They're a little bit harsher. They're a little bit more like go-getters. By feminine signs, they are internal. They like to feel, they like to experience, they like to analyze and reflect more deeply. Therefore, Gemini, which is the masculine sign of Mercury, it channels the intelligence, it channels speech and communication in the outside world, and therefore Gemini we often associate it as the sign of communication. While Virgo, it takes that same energy, but it directs it inward. And therefore we often say Virgo is the sign of analysis. We can apply the same to Venus. Taurus, being an even sign, is the feminine sign of Venus. And therefore Taurus is all about internalizing enjoyment. It is about nourishment. It is about deeply feeling and enjoying this world, and also sharing that enjoyment with others, nurturing this world. By Libra, it's the masculine sign of Venus. It is this sense of refinement, of beauty, reflected on the outside world, making great artists, great diplomats, great social reformers who want to create beauty outside, among the people, in society, in the world. Aries is an odd sign, therefore it represents the masculine energy of Mars. It is the warrior. It is literally the general who's fighting on the battlefield, while Scorpio, being feminine, is that internal fight that we have within us. It's the spiritual warrior, the shaman, the person who's fighting his inner enemies. Sagittarius is the odd sign of Jupiter. It is the masculine energy of Jupiter. It is virtue and righteousness out in the world. Therefore, Sagittarius is associated with the judge, with the religious preacher, the person who tries to ensure there's justice out in the world. While Pisces is religiosity internalized. It is a sign of spirituality, of unconditional love, of practicing our spiritual path, not caring about what other people are doing or saying. And we can apply the same to Capricorn and Aquarius. Capricorn is the feminine sign of Saturn. It is all this discipline, duty, responsibility internalized. While Aquarius is the masculine sign of Saturn. It is going out in the world, changing the world, working hard, being seen, engaging in philanthropic activities. Aquarius and Scorpio also have the co-rulership of Rahu and Ketu. Aquarius is associated particularly with Rahu and Scorpio with Ketu. Therefore, Aquarius is also the sign of innovation and of rebellion, while Ketu, being the ruler of Scorpio, gives Scorpio this spiritual depth and great intuition. It is also interesting to see, considering the Sun and the Moon as the lords of Leo are surrounded by the planets in the order of our galaxy. So first we have the Sun, then Mercury, then Venus, then Mars, then Jupiter, and then Saturn. In Vedic astrology, the outer planets such as Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are not included in the scheme, as there is this thought of the potency of those planets that are visible to the naked eye. And even though the ancients were aware of the planets until Pluto, they did not include them in the scheme because they said that everything within creation can be categorized among those 9 planets. Understanding the symbology of the zodiac signs will help us to remember their qualities. Aries is depicted as a ram, which is an animal similar to a goat. Aries individuals, they like to climb mountains. They don't shy away from challenges. They like to run with their head first through the wall. And they love to act, sometimes more than to just sit back and think and contemplate. Taurus is depicted by a bull or sometimes by a cow. Taurus is the feminine sign of Venus, and it's the cow and the bull, especially in the ancient civilization, which was an agrarian culture where animals were respected. In that culture, the cow and the bull, they give rise to so much produce of vegetables and also to milk and dairy products. Similar to a cow, Taurus individuals, they know how to love, they know how to nourish, and they like to share their resources with others. They like to give enjoyments to their family, to their friends, to their close ones, and even to themselves. Gemini is depicted by siblings. In the ancient tradition, it is depicted by Lord Shiva and his sister Saraswati holding hands. Siblings, they like to play, they like to have fun. So also Gemini is the sign of playfulness, of creativity, of following our hobbies and creative pursuits, having fun, communicating, making friends. Cancer is depicted by a crab, and many crabs, they carry their home on their body. So also Cancerians, they love their home, their family. They love to have a nest that they can return to at the end of the day. And the same way like the moon. Cancer is a very feminine sign, since the moon is this principle of yin energy, of femininity. So for Cancerians, it is a lot about emotions and about feeling and about inner security, which is very different to Leo, which is depicted by a lion. The lion is the king of the jungle, so also Leo individuals, they like to be the king in their environments. They like to be the leader among their peers. They roar very loudly, and they can get quite unsatisfied in their life if they're not able to live up to their high ideals. Virgo is depicted by a maiden, by a virgin girl sitting on a boat. And Virgo represents purity. It is Mercury taking all of his intelligence inside. And Virgos love to analyze, they love to put things into boxes, organize things, and compartmentalize them. Similarly to a young girl who is contemplating the nature of this world and reflecting about life. Libra is represented by a man holding a scale, and Libra is the sign of balance. It is the masculine sign of Venus, and Libras, they like to create balance and harmony wherever they go. That is why sometimes they themselves are completely out of balance or out of harmony, because they are just trying to please everybody around them. Scorpio is depicted by a scorpion, and Scorpions, they can sting. Scorpions are also an ancient symbol of medicine, in the same way like the snake is the symbol of allopathic medicine in the West, because poison has the power to poison us, but it can also indicate a cure or an antidote. Therefore, Scorpios, if mismanaged, they can poison us and harm us. At the same time, Scorpios also make great healers or shamans or psychologists. Sagittarius is interesting. It is depicted by a centaur, half man and half human. It is the masculine sign of Jupiter, and therefore Sagittarius depicts this desire for justice, for righteousness, for fighting for a good cause. Capricorn is depicted by a sea monster. And like a sea monster which is waiting in the river for a long time until its prey arrives, Capricorns, they think in the long term. They're happy to wait however long it takes to achieve their goal. And we often refer to Capricorn as the sign of ambition, having this feminine energy of Saturn and internalizing time. Aquarius is depicted by a man holding a bottle of water. That water is liquor, because there's both Saturn and Rahu in Aquarius, which are the indicators for intoxication. So Aquarius is the sign of innovation. It is the sign of going a road that is not traveled so much. It is the sign of going against the stream and trying something new. Finally, Pisces is depicted by two fish. One of the fish is coming down and going back into the pond, while the other fish is going up, he's leaving the pond. Pisces is the last sign of the Zodiac. They have done it all, they have seen it all. And Pisces gives us this choice. Do we want to come back into the pool and just go through all of it again? Or have we learned our lesson and are we ready to escape? That is the dilemma, that is the question that many Pisces individuals will face. And therefore Pisces is also the most spiritual sign, being the feminine side of Jupiter. The ancient sages give us numerous other qualities of the signs. Let's explore two more, namely their tattva, their element, and their guna, their quality. Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius are fire signs. Fire is associated with dharma, with righteousness and virtue. And therefore Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius are three signs that strive towards dharma, that strive towards righteousness. For them, virtue and living with a purpose is extremely important. Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn are connected to the earth element. Earth relates to Artha. Artha means money, economic development. These signs, they like to create, they like to expand their wealth. They are fixed like the earth element. Fire signs, they're hot like fire. When we come too close, sometimes they can burn us. Earth signs, they like to create, and they're a bit harder to move. They're a little bit more fixed in their nature because of that. Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius are air signs. Air is connected to karma. Karma means enjoyment. We can see that we say something touches our heart. So touch, air, it has this connection to emotions, to feelings as well. Usually we associate emotions to water, but pleasure has a correlation to air. And maybe that is why earthly pleasures are so fleeting, like the wind, which is always changing. So Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, they like karma, they like to have a little bit more fun. And they also tend to move very quickly. And then lastly, we have Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, which are water signs. They are connected to the principle of moksha, which is freedom, or as they say, liberation. It is higher aspirations. We see that all the elements, they move in trines. We have another principle, which is that of the gunas. And gunas, they work in squares. So here we have Aries, we have Cancer, we have Libra, and Capricorn, which are chara signs. Chara means movable. They have a little bit more rajas. We have Taurus, we have Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, which are sthira signs. They are fixed. They have more tamas. They don't move so much. They're very fixed. And then we have Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces, which are Dvishvabhava signs or dual signs. They're infused with a greater mode of goodness. They move when they have to, and they sit still when they need to. We can observe that the tattvas, the elements, work in squares, while the gunas, the qualities, they work in trines. And we can see that there's a unique combination for every zodiac sign with one guna and one element. Thus, even though Aries, Leo, Sagittarius are all fire signs, they differ from each other. Aries is fire in that is moving, that is rajas, like a warrior who's on the battlefield moving from one ground to the next. Leo is that fire that is sthira, that is fixed, like the king, who might also go on the battleground, but definitely is not moving as much as all the soldiers. He's usually found in his palace. He's more sthira. And then we have Sagittarius, which is also fire, but it is in sattva. It is like the judge, who only burns if he has to. Taurus is earth that is sthira, earth that is fixed. It is like the workers in a field. Capricorn is earth that is moving. It is people who are running factories, who are moving from one field to the next, arranging the produce. And then we have Virgo, which is earth, that is dual, earth and sattva, which is like the banks, who are moving money and holding on to it. So Geminis, they really know how to enjoy. They know where to go and where not to go. While Libra is air that is moving. So Libras, they are running from one opportunity to the next, adding to that lack of satisfaction that can come in, that lack of happiness, because they're not able to always remain in that moment, because they're Chara sign, they're movable. And then we have Aquarius, which is that air that is fixed. So they're staying for too long. Aquarius individuals can sometimes remain for too long in places that they should have left long time ago, because they are hoping that this could give them some satisfaction, but they're unable to leave it. Because it is air, it is a principle of karma, but it is fixed. A bit like that symbol of Aquarius, which is a man holding a pot of liquor. And maybe he should have let go of that liquor a long time ago, but he's holding on to it. He's not able to move. And then we have our water signs, the principle of moksha. We have Cancer, which is the water element, but it is moving. The water element is connected to teachers, to priests, to that aspiration for higher knowledge, for transcendence. We have Scorpio, which is that water that is fixed, it has become stale, like a swamp. The water is not moving, there's bubbles coming out. So it is like a priest who's engaging in rituals that are harmful or hurtful. And then we have Pisces, which is a watery sign, and which is sattvic, which is this highest aspiration of spirituality, of this quest for divinity. And again, this is why we can see that Pisces is the most spiritual sign. We can also note that the signs Sagittarius and Pisces are not only ruled by Jupiter, which is sattvic, but are sattvic in themselves, making these two the most auspicious signs of the zodiac. While Aquarius and Scorpio not only have the co-rulership of Rahu and Ketu, which are slightly more evil planets, which are shadowy planets, but they are also fixed signs. They're tamas and lorded by tamas planets. Therefore, anything that is situated in Aquarius or Scorpio, it takes much longer to grow, it takes much longer to mature. If we are Scorpio or Aquarius ascendant, or we have any key planets there will always be one challenge associated with this. So in this way, we can understand the Bhu chakra, we can understand the Rāśi chakra, the symbolism of the zodiac signs. We can appreciate some of their qualities. And now we'll have to understand where these zodiac signs were in relation to us at our birth. So in our next lesson, we're going to learn about the houses. And we are so close to being able at looking at the sky during which we were born and reading our horoscope, decoding what is the karma that we were born with. So please join us in our next step.